Welcome to the madhouse. I want to touch on something today about Tylenol and autism. I agree with the majority of stuff that Trump's doing and saying, but this shit with Tylenol causing autism, if that was the case, then the majority of this fucking country would freaking be autistic. Um, so here's the problem. We want to talk about Tylenol and shit like that. Um, this is gonna turn into the left, and it's already causing problems. Like there's a woman in the hospital. She probably died by now since the video. Watched a Levi Nichols video, um, saying that a woman ended up overdosing. A pregnant woman ended up overdosing to prove Trump wrong. Now I know some fucking idiot assholes are gonna be like, good, good. They don't need to reproduce. That's besides the point. Leave that bullshit elsewhere. Um, I'm not happy with the left just as much as everybody else, but the harm of an unborn baby and due to the stupidity of the mother, it's not okay. Now here's the problem, right? They don't normally give ibuprofen unless under extreme monitoring by the doctors, because we all know ibuprofen is a blood thinner, and you give a pregnant woman a blood thinner, it could cause placental abruptions. Now here's the problem, and I want to be brutally honest. Um, so my kid's mother, my son that passed away due to premature birth, my kid's mother was on Dilaudid for pain medication. Dilaudid, a narcotic, during pregnancy. Um, Dilaudid for pain, and we wonder why there was 8 true knots in placental abruption that caused a late-term miscarriage and him being born alive and only living 2 hours. They allow morphine drips to be given doses like every 5 minutes and be controlled by the patient. Now, my kid's mother has had some very difficult pregnancies and a lot of pain during those pregnancies. My oldest, during that pregnancy, she had a kidney infection that required a stent that caused a blood infection. It passed to the blood infection, double pneumonia, all at once, 106 fever, and my daughter had 25% chance of living, and she had none. Just let you know, she told the doctors if it came down to it, deliver the baby and do what you can to save the baby. She was okay with not making it, as long as the baby had a chance. That's still, to this day, the one thing I have utmost respect for her, because she had the opportunity if she wanted to abort it. Now, my son Hunter, born 3.5 months early, he was less than a pound when he was born. She had a lot of pain then. Now, I don't know if people realize this, but do you know what drug is in the epidurals that they give pregnant women to help during birth, during labor? Fentanyl. Fentanyl is actually, medical fentanyl is a legal thing. And they give that to women who are delivering. Now, it's possible that it doesn't have enough time to get into the bloodstream and whatnot to make a big difference by the time they cut the cord. But here's the problem. My youngest son, he was born a couple months early. Now, one of the problems that she has with pregnancy is when she was 16, she had cervical cancer, and they froze the cells. and they told her that she would never be able to have a baby without miscarrying. And she had plenty of miscarriages, but she's also had 5 kids. One that was technically considered a late term miscarriage. Um, Now, my youngest, he was born addicted to morphine. He was born not breathing. They had to resuscitate him. And hey, guess what? My youngest has autism, higher functioning. My son Hunter, who was born 3.5 months early, and by the way, even in the NICU after being born, yes, we could maybe chalk it up to him being premature, but the monitors and the sounds in the NICU, him and one other child, which oddly enough, the other child, he ended up going to school with years later, who ended up also on the spectrum. They had to be put and isolated in an area where they weren't getting overstimulated because it was causing medical problems, heart rate issues, and being 3.5 months early, they couldn't do that. So they had an area in the NICU blocked off from all other monitors where it was nice and quiet for them. That, I thought, because Hunter was pretty much nonverbal, and he started showing signs that we actually noticed the signs of when he was about 18 months old, 1.5 years old, right around the time that they start the first of the vaccines for children. So we thought it might have been the vaccines. It might have been vaccine related. But then later on in Hunter's life, me and his mother sat and thought, he did have to be isolated due to overstimulation of the monitors. That right there was a telltale sign that it's most likely he was born with it. And she, honestly, I think his pregnancy, even though he was early, I think his pregnancy was pretty much the easiest out of them all. Up until the end. So she wasn't really on any medications or anything like that. But my point is this. They don't give Tylenol, and especially ibuprofen, very easily to pregnant women. What they do, though, is all a woman has to say during pregnancy is, this, like, they might give Vicodin or like Percocets at low dose to help with ease. But those are narcotics. They want to blame the over the counter stuff. And I feel that this is an FDA, RFK, Trump thing to dominate the prescription pain medication. That's just my that you can get over the counter, and remove it from being able to get it over the counter. So the only thing that you can do is go to the hospital and pay Big Pharma for your prescriptions. Now I'm going to tell you, I trust Big Pharma less than I trust the government. But this is kind of fucked up that it's causing all these stupid ass leftist women to overdose while being pregnant. Stop it. Stop the bullshit. I honestly feel that this is getting out of control. Because if Tylenol was the cause of fucking autism, we'd have a lot of 80-year-old, 90-year-old adults fucking running around with their problems that autistic people have. What the problem is the easily available morphine to pregnant women with difficult pregnancies. All a woman has to say is, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. They go and check what's going on, run tests. They may not even find anything, but all you have to do is be consistent in saying that you're in pain, and they'll put you on a morphine drip, or they'll give you Dilaudid. They gave my kid's mother Dilaudid to take home as a prescription while being pregnant. And then we're wondering what happened during this pregnancy because everything was fine and it was just literally so fucking out of nowhere and abrupt that she ended up hemorrhaging on the toilet and being rushed to the hospital. This is the problem. It's not Tylenol. It's not aspirin. There may be correlations in Harvard studies, but come on now. We're gonna hold on to Harvard studies after all the shit that Trump talked about Harvard, about how bad that school was with their leftist ideology and anti-Semitic and fucking terrorists, allowing terrorist supporting groups and all this shit that's been said about Harvard. We're now gonna all of a sudden trust these guys that from Harvard. No, don't get me wrong. These extremist leftists that have Trump derangement syndrome, I don't believe they should be procreating. But this is not the way. We all know that, oh, Trump says do this. Well, all right, we're not going to do that. Or Trump says don't do this. Like right now, there are people, there are doctors that are pregnant making TikToks showing that they're taking Tylenol during the pregnancy. These studies are not conclusive enough. Because in the reality of everything, if Tylenol was such a problem during pregnancy, there'd be multiple fucking generations of autism, and it would have been way much more noticeable. My grandparents, I'm 47, so my grandparents would be damn near 100 years old right now. They would be showing mass signs of it. Because Tylenol and aspirin was the only thing they had for quite a while that didn't need a doctor. Now, obviously, you don't take fucking ibuprofen because it's a blood thinner and that's bad for the fucking placenta. But the readily available dosing of narcotic medications like Dilaudid, morphine, and shit like that, it's so easy to get when a woman sits there and says, oh, I'm in pain. My kid's mother, we actually dealt with this during this pregnancy because I realized that she was using it every time that the machine would allow her to, and it literally was on a 5-minute timer. She's hitting the button, and I don't blame her so much. Yeah, she had lack of willpower, but she was also fucking bedridden in the hospital in pain, which is understandable to an extent. I blame the doctors for allowing a 5-minute morphine drip to be able to be used like every 5 minutes. For why my son, my youngest, was born not breathing and had to be resuscitated after birth, after being born. It's not the Tylenol. It's not the aspirin. Yes, if prolonged use, but using it, just to take away some discomfort at its base dosage, no, that's not the fucking reason. To be honest, the mercury and the mercury that's in the fucking vaccinations these kids have is more likely of a reason for autism than the fucking Tylenol, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but it's just fucking common sense, dude. Aspirin is another thing that they're trying to link to it, too. And I feel that this is, and to be honest, this is the only thing I really feel that is some kind of fucking bullshit cover-up on the Trump administration, is that they potentially just trying to get rid of any over-the-counter pain relievers so that you have to fucking spend money and go to the doctors. Because it makes no sense. Generations upon generations of people would have been shown much stronger signs of autism for fucking decades now. If ibuprofen and Tylenol were the reasons for autism. What about this? Microwaves, literally cooking with radiation. You know what else could be a problem? Chemotherapy for cancer patients. Those people that take chemo and actually live through the cancer and have a fruitful life, have kids, you are literally poisoning your body with radiation, and then going along life, having kids and whatnot. Cell phones. It may be small, but it may be enough, because think about it. A pregnant woman with a cell phone, the phone will either be in a purse, in a pocket, in a sweatshirt, or jacket, or a pants pocket, or in a purse. Where are these electronics usually near when they're in a purse? Swinging right next to the baby. And maybe small emissions of it. But if we're gonna go the Tylenol route, why don't we just fucking open up all possibilities? Get rid of cell phones. Ban microwaves. You know? Couldn't be the fact that we're inhaling carbon monoxide from gas run cars. No, trust me, I'm not no fucking electric car fucking fanatic, but it's true. Other environmental, we just barely found out that autism is potentially genetic. We still don't 100% know if it's genetic or not. In my case, I think it might be, because of the fact that my kid's mother's nephew had it and and also had fucking severe epilepsy, and he ended up dying at 3 years old because of a really bad seizure. But the fact is that the worst pregnancy my kid's mother had was with my oldest. And my oldest just recently at 25 got diagnosed. But this doctor that diagnosed her, I think, is full of shit and is trying to manipulate my kid, because my kid is trans. Already, clearly a psychiatrist, talking to a psychiatrist, knows about all your problems that you, in this case, most of them are probably made up by my child. I've had times where my kid fucking reported, went along with the report with his mother, and then turned around and told the fucking state that I was beating him and everything. It's just, this person is, and the crazy thing is my kid would only talk to a counselor that was LGBTQ. They would only feel comfortable with an LGBTQ doctor. Now that doctor isn't going to be beneficial to my child. That doctor's just going to fill all the delusions and play along with all the delusions, make my kid feel okay with all the delusional shit that they're going through, instead of actually portraying a healthy solution. Now, this doctor turned around and said, I'm going to diagnose you with autism, but it's going to be off the books. So that way, for your protection, because of Trump's autism, like, concentration camps, apparently. And not only that, autism also has become the new ADHD from the 70s and 80s. It's being overdiagnosed, hyperdiagnosed, for people that don't even have it. oh, I have ADHD. Yeah, they now made the symptom of ADHD as a symptom of autism. No, ADHD and autism, that's a comorbid. Autism is a comorbid disorder, which means that it has most likely and very likely has other underlying mental health issues tagged along with it. I feel that this is a very dangerous route that Trump is going through right now, and RFK is lost his fucking mind, in my opinion, when it comes to Tylenol is the reason. Tylenol is the reason. Why wasn't that brought up during Trump's first? Because 6 to 8 years ago, it was being brought up. Tylenol being the cause of autism. That was a thing that was happening back then. Why didn't nobody back then bring it up? After the whole COVID thing, it's going to be very hard to get me to fucking believe anything they say about autism. It could be environmental. People having black mold and not knowing. Black mold causes developmental issues in healthy people that are exposed to it enough. Lead poisoning, acute lead poisoning, causes developmental issues if they're exposed to it enough. And in young children, having lead poisoning can cause issues for them, even though when they have it taken care of and reduced, can cause developmental and mental health issues as they get older. They can't just pin Tylenol, because there would be so many more people. It's like 1 in 38 boys that are diagnosed. It'd be like 1 in 10 if it was truly Tylenol and acetaminophen and aspirin that was the cause of it. Because our grandparents, our great-grandparents, generations of families have taken Tylenol and aspirin in moderation. What the problem is the overindulgence of people who can just sit there and say, even if they're not in pain, all they have to do is sit there and say, I'm in pain, it hurts here, and just be adamant about it. And because this happened with my kid's mother. They would look into shit and there'd be nothing that they could find wrong besides why early labor contractions. And they would give her fucking morphine. They would give her Percocets. They would give her Vicodins. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people realize epidurals during childbirth has fentanyl in it. This shit needs to stop. Because now you get dumbass fucking leftists, just because Trump said no, they're now overdosing themselves while being pregnant. And this is going to fucking come down on the administration. We know that they're going to use this against the administration. It needs to fucking stop. Because I'm not going to believe no stupid studies from Harvard after President Trump has basically dismantled the federal funding for Harvard because of their fucking campus politics. And, not happening. Guys, don't fucking believe everything you say, regardless if you fucking like Trump or not. Do not believe everything. And don't be fucking retarded and go and overdosing your pregnant self fucking just to prove him wrong. I'm asking. I wouldn't quite say that I'm a right-wing person. I've always thought of myself independent, and what only matters to me is what matters to my family. I don't care about all the other shit. So, This is kind of a right-leaning centrist asking you leftists, don't do this to yourselves or your fucking babies. This woman not only fucking pretty much killed herself because she ended up overdosing, she's put herself in such a painful overdose. Go look up stories about Tylenol overdoses and the pain that it causes. Tylenol and ibuprofen overdoses are one of the worst fucking ways to go. And this woman not only ended her own life, she fucking ended her baby, her unborn baby's life. Unless she's far enough along when they can deliver the baby, both her and her baby are gone now. Because of the stupidity of this Trump derangement syndrome. Cut the fucking shit. Stop being so retarded. Seriously. This is fucking ridiculous. Use your fucking head. For generations, people have been given Tylenol. It has nothing to do with the current generations of the mass amounts of fucking people. You know what it has to do is, like I said, autism is the new ADHD from the 80s. Every fucking kid that I went to school with as a Gen Xer, just about every kid had ADHD and was on Ritalin. What about that? What about all the SSRIs that they're constantly putting people under? What about the fucking barbaric and fucking old as shit fucking medications like Prozac and fucking Zoloft and shit like that? Ambien, all this, it's not Tylenol. It is not Tylenol. I'm pretty sure because my grandparents would have been autistic, or I would have known somebody in my fucking family, my grandparents and my great aunts, fucking, my parents' fucking age group in my family, somebody would have had it. Now, I did have a distant cousin with Down syndrome, but that's different. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you from first-hand experience, my kid's mother would only have to tell them I'm in pain, I hurt, even if they didn't find anything out in ultrasounds, x-rays, or anything. That's another thing. Maybe ultrasounds aren't as safe as what people think they are. And they still do x-rays on pregnant women, hoping that the fucking old school barbaric fucking lead apron will be enough to fucking protect the baby. Then you got people who take chemo who are literally willingly poisoning their bodies with radiation, making it through the cancer, getting better from the chemo, and then having kids. There's too many other factors in this fucking situation that could be causing this. Unknown mercury in water supplies. There's fucking wells everywhere, like people that live like out in the fucking sticks and shit. They have fucking actual like not like pipe fed wells, like literal wells that take water from the ground or nearby lakes. Not only that, think about this too. How many fucking people in this country are drinking water filled with chlorine and fluoride? You drink Clorox bleach, it kills you. But yet, you can swim in chlorine, get chlorinated water in your mouth, potentially swallow it, drink it through your fucking drinking water. Fluoride, which fucking destroys the liver. You're ingesting that for decades of your life. If you live in a country that does fluoride water, or in a state, I don't know if there's some states without it. But I think it's a U.S. regulation to have fluoride in the water supply for the drinking water. There's so many fucking bad things that are getting put in our systems that are okay and regulated by the government. And I just feel that this whole fucking pushing for Tylenol and aspirin and shit like that is to take over-the-counter pain relievers off the shelves. So that way you have no choice but to make a doctor's appointment. And make big pharma money. Alright, that was a bit of a repetitive rant, but